Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today I'm going to be doing a foundation and a concealer review of something I found at Dollar Tree. So there's this specific brand that Dollar Tree has gotten in like the past couple of years that has really been stepping up their game and coming out with all kinds of like trending products that are not things you would typically be able to find in the Dollar Tree. Like this brand is what I did my skincare routine on a couple videos back, and they have some makeup coming out. But I saw that Be Pure, which is the brand I'm going to be reviewing today, came out with a Dollar Tree foundation and concealer. So this is the Essentially Ageless Hydrating Serum Concealer and the Essentially Ageless Hydrating Serum Foundation. Now both of these say that they have hyaluronic acid in them. I don't know, this sounds kind of promising. So it says it's infused with vitamin B3, hydrating serum, hyaluronic acid, and niacinamide to keep your skin feeling hydrated and silky. It says it's exclusively formulated for mature skin, but I'm gonna try it anyway. And I do have like, you know, lines underneath my eyes and bags, and so I thought might as well, I could use the hydration. I don't think it's exclusive. Well, it says exclusively, but I think this would look fine on my skin, even though it's not as mature as maybe the audience they were intending. So the concealer says it's infused with hydrating serum, which I don't know exactly what that is. It just says hydrating serum. We'll find out, I guess. Glycerin and hyaluronic acid to help even out your skin tone and provide the coverage you need to help minimize the appearance of dark circles and blemishes. So neither of these actually say what kind of coverage they're supposed to provide, so I guess it's kind of just, we'll find out. The one downside to these, and this is kind of the issue with Dollar Tree products, is that the shade range is abysmal. I mean, I can't blame them personally because it is $1.25. It's not like a massive brand where they can just like, you know, to make more shade ranges, it costs more money. I'm gonna give them a pass. Already looking at this, I don't think it's gonna be light enough for me, but I wore a turtleneck so we can just hide it so no one can tell. So I got the shades light medium, and then they also had medium dark. They may have more elsewhere, like just a light or just a dark, but not at my Dollar Trees. So yeah, buckle in because we are gonna try these out. I'm going to do a wear test throughout the day. I am starting this quite later. It is 1 p.m. It's Christmas Eve, but I'm gonna try to get this at least like a 10-hour wear test so I can see, and then I will be testing it over the next couple of days so that I can give further analysis. Okay, so I zoomed this in. I'm gonna pull my hair back. I did already do my skincare, but I'm going to be prepping my skin with the Wet n Wild My Cherry Amour Primer Serum. And for underneath the eyes, I'm gonna be using the Physicians Formula Refreshmint Eye Depuffer. All right, so we're going to start out with the foundation, and today I'm going to be applying it with a beauty blender or a sponge. I feel like I typically get the best appearance-wise, like for texture, with a sponge. Sometimes I get better coverage with a brush, but we can test it out another day. Shade definitely looks a little orange for me. Yeah, shade's really, really bad. I do have a white foundation mixer, so maybe I will try that another day to see if we can, you know, if this is a good foundation, if we can actually make it work, because oh my gosh. Okay, since it's so off, even though I'm wearing a turtleneck, I am going to blend it down my neck because this is embarrassing. Blend it down my neck, blend it into my ears. I have to say, while the shade match is horrid, it actually looks really, really good on the skin. Like it looks almost skin-like and like super hydrating, and like I think it looks actually like phenomenal on my skin, which is not what you would expect from like a Dollar Tree foundation. Coverage is like medium light, but like it looks so good on the skin. Doesn't look makeup-y at all. So we're gonna go in with the concealer now. It's a little lighter. Okay. Maybe to like lighten up my face, I will kind of use it for some highlighting. Okay, so for the concealer, I would say that coverage is light. I could go in and try to build it up, but I'm gonna try that a different day just to see how this actually looks with just like a normal layer. But that looks very hydrating underneath the eyes, doesn't look cakey or dry. Like I do have a lot of like little fine lines that concealer gets trapped in, but I think it looks like pretty good. So maybe tomorrow I will try letting it set down longer to see if we can get deeper coverage, and then the following day I will try and do like 2 layers to see if we can build up coverage. Okay, honestly, I am really surprised by this. Pleasantly, this looks great on the skin. I am sad about the shade range because I couldn't, even if this like wears amazingly throughout the day, I would still have to like mix this with a lot of white foundation mixer and a lighter concealer in order to get this to look normal. Like, I hope you can tell, because I think it looks worse in person than it does as I'm looking in the viewfinder, but like it is drastically different. I mean, if all else fails, this could be like a self-tanner shade for me in the summer. So honestly, I don't even think it needs powder to set underneath my eyes, and I'm not going to set any powder on my face. I'm going to finish up the rest of my makeup and then come back and show you or tell you how things blended on top of it, and give some more thoughts before we wear it throughout the day. Okay, so I applied makeup on top and everything seemed to blend in just fine. Yeah, everything blended on top okay. It's looking pretty good. I did use powders, but aside from the color, I think it looks really good. And I'm really liking it. I'll see you in 5 hours. Okay, the lighting I have right now is not great. So this is how it's been looking on the skin. I am definitely looking like a little bit oily here. I think it's more noticeable on camera, but you do see like a little bit of shine. I do have normal skin. I don't have dry skin, so maybe since this is a very hydrating foundation, maybe I just need to powder in some areas, so I might try that tomorrow. Otherwise, it's looking pretty good. It's been wearing well throughout the day. Right now, it's been on for about 7 hours. I don't think it's oxidized or changed color, but yeah, I'm liking it so far. Okay, so it has been on for about 10 hours now. Once again, I know the lighting is not great. It has like worn down a little bit. I did like wear a mask today and I was laying on the side of my face, but honestly, it doesn't look too bad. I think I will powder some of the areas I get a little bit oily tomorrow because it is looking a little bit shiny. I don't know if you can tell on camera. I mean, it's honestly not bad. Like, I could live with this. I just want to see how it looks tomorrow with a little bit of powder or even maybe more of a mattifying primer underneath. Tomorrow we are going to test it out some other ways and I will check back in. For the sake of reviewing this foundation, I don't want to add too much of the white mixer in case it alters the finish of the foundation, but I think if all goes well, I would in the future use more of the white. Already, I'll say that it does look a little bit more evident on the skin with the white mixer than it did yesterday. Yesterday, it just looked flawless on the skin. So that is a downside for me, but not anything to say against the foundation. The foundation itself is still good. It could just be the white mixer that I have. Now today I'm gonna let this set down for longer to see if we can get better coverage. Okay, coverage, I would say, honestly, looks about the same as yesterday. Probably tomorrow I will try doubling it up, seeing if it's a buildable concealer, because I let this sit for about like 30-40 seconds, and I don't really think it looks different from yesterday. Okay, I finished up my makeup. I did add some translucent powder to like here and here since that got like oily yesterday. It is looking more makeup-y today, and there's like something going on here that I don't know if that was the powder or what. So far, looking not too bad. Probably have it on for like 12 hours today. I will check back in later in the day. Okay, I'm sorry I did not do a midday check-in. It's just been an extremely busy day. This foundation has been on for over 12 hours at this point. It's held up decently well. There's just like somewhere around the nose where it looks like the foundation has come off. I do apologize, lighting again is horrendous. I am getting some oiliness in the same spots I was yesterday. I did add a little bit of powder, but I'm just seeing it just wasn't the right type of powder or enough to absorb what my face is producing. So, but since I have normal to oily skin, if you have dry to normal skin, that this might be just fine. Concealer seems like it's held up decently well as well. It's not like settling into fine lines or anything horrible. Not the most coverage, but you know, not terrible. Okay, it is another day and I just applied the foundation and I did add more of the white foundation mixer and I think it's definitely a lot closer to my actual skin tone, but I had to add a lot. So far, I'd say the major downfall is just the shade range, which if you're darker than me might not have as much of an issue, and like this was $1.25, so I'm not too upset that they don't have my shade. I did have to add a lot of this, and because of that, it does change the texture. So I'll zoom in. I did add a mattifying primer right here since I did get quite oily the other days. When I just applied the foundation by itself, it looked very flawless on the skin. It definitely doesn't look bad with the white mixer in, but it did change it to where it is more mattified and it does look a little bit more makeup-y because honestly, I had to basically do half this and half this to get it to a shade that looked closer to what I am because it is so off. Maybe I also need to try a different white foundation mixer. It could just be this. They probably sell some that are more hydrating that would be less altering to the formula. Like it definitely looks like makeup on the skin. You can tell it's there, but it doesn't look horrible. I did apply the concealer once already. And to be honest, looking in the viewfinder, it doesn't look like I'm wearing any concealer at all because it is such light coverage. And I did want to show the before, and I'm going to be applying a second coat on top to see if this is a buildable concealer. Not adding anything to the concealer either to lighten it. I'm just leaving it as is. I feel like it maybe added a little bit of coverage, but honestly, my under eyes are still looking quite dark. I mean, I do have dark circles underneath my eyes, so I don't expect it to look amazing. I mean, it looks nice as far as finish underneath my eyes. You can tell I do have like a lot of lines and my under eyes are definitely not perfect. So concealer does settle, but especially as like if I pull back from the camera, I do see like the darkness still coming through. I mean, the finish is good. It's hydrating. It's just not as much coverage as I personally like. If you don't struggle as much with your under eyes, you might really like this. If you just like a light coverage concealer, this might be great. So I will not be having this on for as long today. It is almost 4 o'clock, so I'm gonna have it on for like maybe 8 hours, but I will still do check-ins to show you how it looked. Okay, it is the end of the night. I was just about to wash my face and I remembered I didn't do a check-in. So here we are. I'm exhausted. I think it's been on for like 8 hours. It's still a little bit of shine coming through, but I think it looks more natural, not oily. Do have some like rub off like around the nose. Concealer doesn't look bad. It's definitely worn out some in this area. It seemed that it didn't do that as much when I didn't have it mixed with the white mixers, so that could be a contributing factor. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. I'm very impressed. For $1.25, even if you don't get a full ounce, I am very impressed with this foundation. So today I'm going to try a couple of different things. I'm still going to apply primer underneath my eyes, but for the rest of my face, I'm gonna just try it without primer. I did a whole video on whether I think primer is worth it, and it's really a toss-up depending on the primer, the foundation, how your skin is that day. I'm also going to be using a brush to blend it out today. Okay, so I only applied it to my cheek area. I think I like how it looks mixing the white mixer and the foundation on my skin better than mixing it in my hand and then applying it. It doesn't look bad on the skin. It definitely looks more makeup-y like yesterday, but I imagine that is because of the white mixer. It is looking kind of just like textured up here, so I am gonna apply some setting spray and then go over it with a makeup sponge just to smooth it out. I wanna say that the brush did actually get more coverage. So this might be one of those foundations that when I want more coverage, I apply it with a brush and then just go over it with a sponge to smooth it out a bit. And honestly, with this concealer, I would probably use it with another one that's a little bit lighter. I feel like I maybe also got better coverage in applying it with a brush. Kind of hard to tell because it looks different in the viewfinder than it does in the mirror. I mean, my dark circles are still definitely coming through, still definitely looking tired, but I think it looks a little bit better than it did yesterday. I might actually apply a brightening powder underneath today to just like wake my eyes up. Okay, I do think that looks better, smoothed out with the sponge and added some setting spray, and I don't think it took away any of the coverage, which is good. And I'm going to take this CoverGirl Clean Fresh powder in shade 110 Porcelain and just add that underneath my eyes. Yeah, I feel like that looks good. Okay, so I am so sorry I forgot to do an update at the 5-hour mark. It was just a busy day and I was driving around a lot, but this has been on, it's almost been 12 hours. So I will show you my skin. I am noticing now that it looks like my skin might be having some kind of reaction. It looks like a little bumpy. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but it just looks like there's more texture than there usually is, like some kind of like rash or allergic reaction. I'm not sure if it is the foundation that I'm reacting to. I could be wrong, but I think I may have reacted that same way to another foundation that I tested out, the Sassy and Chic one from Dollar Tree. I think I'm gonna have to keep testing this out and maybe like take a couple days off to see if that is what is affecting my skin or if it's something else. So I'll try to isolate that and put that in the end of this video, or maybe some text on the screen to let you know if I was able to find out. For 12 hours, I think it still looks good. I mean, I was like laying and my eye was watering, so I am looking like a little bit rough. A little bit like worn off by my nose. That's just like pretty common with me most of the time because I'm always going like that and you know, whatever. But I think I will come back, try it a little bit more, and then come back with some final thoughts. Okay, so I've spent a few more days trying out this foundation and concealer, and I just want to kind of give some overall points at the end just to sum all of this up. I will say that this foundation itself is great on the skin. It looks super hydrating. It looks almost skin-like. It didn't look makeup-y really at all, which is something you would expect from such a cheap foundation, but it gave a nice glow to the skin. It set on the skin really nicely. However, once you change it and mix other things in with it, it does alter it, and it's not as good. It's not necessarily a bad foundation. It does alter the finish so you don't get as nice of a look. I'm not sure that I would recommend this foundation for someone who does have very light skin. They did have a deeper shade, so I think people with tanner skin or darker skin would benefit from this foundation more. But realistically speaking, I don't know how often I would want to go out of my way to mix half and half of that foundation and white in order to get how it looked on my skin. If it looked as smooth on my skin with the white mixer in, I absolutely would take that time. But since I can get like a similar texture from other foundations that are just closer to my shade without mixing, I don't see myself grabbing this very often. That being said, I might, like if I really have self-tanner going on, like a lot of self-tanner in the summer, I could see myself wearing this more frequently because it would better match my skin. And I did already say this, but this foundation is definitely hydrating. So if you have oily skin, I don't think you would really like this. Since I have like normal to oily skin, I did have like some areas that looked shiny at the end of the night. They didn't look too bad, but if you have pretty oily skin, I can imagine that this would look pretty oily at the end of the day. You'd shine a lot. The coverage of the foundation is definitely not bad. It's like light to medium. You can definitely get like solid medium if you use a foundation brush and then in order to like make it look smoother, go in with a sponge. But I really only got light to medium coverage when I used a makeup sponge. As for the concealer, unless you like really light coverage, I don't think I would recommend this, though it is so cheap. I feel like it really did not conceal much underneath my eyes. Like it added a little bit of color and it looked amazing under the eyes. That is something I can say, that it looked great under the eyes, but it really didn't hide the dark circles that I wanted to hide. It didn't settle into like the fine lines, which is great, and that probably more closely aligns with what they were attempting since it's essentially ageless. If you do have more texture underneath your eyes as you age, then this might be good. However, if you have darkness, if you have things you want to conceal underneath your eyes, I mean, the texture is great, but it's really not concealing very much. But I don't think I would go back and repurchase this concealer when I run out of the one I have right now. I mean, this is definitely worth a try if you do have the money. $125 is remarkably cheap for foundation given everything else on the market. I'm really excited to see what other products the Be Pure brand is going to put out within like the next few months, next year. But that is all I have today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this or got something out of it, I'd really appreciate if you could give it a like, subscribe to my channel, comment down below, do all of the things. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support, and I will hopefully see you in my next video.